Hi everybody. I said on the art page that I would do a video showing the difference between doing a realistic eye versus an anime eye. A lot of you already know the different styles that I'm talking about. To me, honestly, any eye can look any style you want, but realistic tends to be smaller and more almond shaped, and anime eyes are usually bigger, or they have a certain just flatter style, I think. I'm going to use a marker to draw these out. I'm not going to do them in great detail, but just real quick what I was going to do. And sorry for the shadow, but it's just easier to hold the camera while I try and do it rather than try and set it up somewhere. Okay, so for a anime eye, what usually happens is you'll get the giant or the basic ones like this, where it's just pretty basic stuff, and there's usually just shading, or you can do flat and just color it in with whatever you decide to use. That's pretty basic. That's like beginning stuff. You could also do some that are a little bit more rounded, but they're essentially the same. They all kind of have the same shape to it, and in general you can add this. Some people leave it out, but it doesn't really matter. That's the shine usually in an eye. And then do the same thing and just color it in. And sometimes it's easier to show with actual colored pencils, but yeah. Because you have the big ones, it gets progressively smaller. And then I know some anime eyes, they're just very thin. Like you get some like this, but this is very old style. I haven't seen these in a very long time where they're extra thin like that. And of course chibi eyes are gigantic, which I really can't do them that well, but they usually don't have any of these top lines. They're usually just giant, real shiny, lots of color inside of that kind of eyes kind of thing. Alright, moving on to realistic eyes for a second. Me, I typically, when I do eyes, it's kind of weird because they usually end up looking more or less like that, where they don't have much detail in them. They're pretty blank. I usually just do that. Sorry if it'll focus. I just end up doing like a sideways V and then adding pupil out, and then a eyelid crease. That's usually about it for mine, but that's just my personal style. I like it a lot, and I usually never fill them in either. But for realistic eyes, you usually want the more almond shaped or the more flat shape, and then go into a little more detail with, you know, the crease line of the eyelid if the eye's half closed. And then it's all about how you color them in, which for mine, I usually will just also do that and then just color it in or shade it in with a pencil. But that's the biggest difference. And obviously the size, like these compared to the rest of the face are gigantic. Like, show you real for just size reference. that's generally the size of anime eyes. They're very big. They take up a good chunk of the head. For realistic eyes, it's more... They're only going to take up a very small amount of space. See the difference? So, and they could be even smaller. They're also, when you draw realistic eyes, they're one eye apart from each other. They're fairly close together. It's kind of the same for anime eyes as well, but again, they're bigger. So they take up most of the space anyway. But for realistic, yeah, smaller, usually more detail because you also have your eyebrows, your crease lines, if your eyes aren't open all the way, because naturally when you draw realistic people, their eyes are never completely wide open like anime eyes can look, especially these or these. But yeah, that's all I really got. I know it wasn't that detailed, there wasn't a lot of shading and color, but this is a good reference to usually make when it comes to size and realistic eyes. They're very much softer, very different, and it just takes a lot of practice. I always recommend people looking at pictures of people when they first start trying to do realistic faces, because it is very difficult to get spot on. Plus, one side of the face is never going to look like the other. It's always going to be hard to draw one side if you're left or right-handed. So, thanks for watching, and I'll put up another one if you guys want me to, and I'll see you guys in the next one.